everyone. My name is Kanushri. Before we dive into our AP Biology Essentials Masterclass, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to the organization making this session possible. Let's Unbound. Let's Unbound is dedicated to empowering students across more than 25 countries by fostering STEM skills, life skills, and college readiness. Our mission is to help students achieve their life skills by 18 and life goals by 35 through personalized learning and mentorship. With programs ranging from skill development, gifted test, college prep, to Ivy League readiness, Let's Unbound has taught over 4,000 students, conducted more than 125,000 hours of teaching, earned a global 4.9 out of 5 rating. By combining innovative teaching methods with strong mentorship, Let's Unbound helps students realize their potential and make a positive impact on the world. So, as we begin today's masterclass, remember, you are building skills that will help you excel far beyond the test in college, career, and life. Over to you, Sajid.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Ajat, and I have been teaching AP biology over here at Let's Unbound. And for today, our objective is to actually look at a few things related to AP biology. One thing, we will make a proper, I would say, foolproof plan for ourselves so that we can actually dive into AP biology in a way that we can get you a perfect 5/5. So if you would just allow me, I would like to share my screen so that we can just discuss it all together one by one. Okay. So I think my screen is very well visible. Yeah, I think it should be now. Great.
Yes, Sajid, it's visible.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the input. Yeah. So over here, when I say AP biology, see, so first thing being very first, a lot of times, a lot of students come to me and ask me what exactly is the difference between AP biology, the regular high school biology, and biology honors, right? So, first thing that we have to be very clear with, AP biology is actually equivalent to two semester college introductory biology course. So, just for a very good example, I know that a bit later, once you will just graduate your high school, you have to enter your college, and in the college, you will just learn everything semester by semester, right? And AP biology is just one of that course that will be included there as a college credit for you. So you don't have to do biology once again as an introductory course. So you would be very ready for your college. You would be very ready for what you will do for your, I would say, career, for your journey into medicine, for your journey into biochemistry, and for your journey into other biology related fields. One of that thing that I will have in mind over here, so when I say why we need to do AP biology, there could be a lot of answers from your side. There could be a lot of answers from my side as well on a very, I would say, superficial basis. AP biology, or I can say any of the AP course that you will do, this will build a lot of skills in you. Some of the skills that I would like to highlight. So, first of all, experimental design. If I just talk about sciences in general, right? So, I'm not talking about Aristotle. I'm not talking about any of the, I would say, ancient Greek scholar over here. I'm just talking about sciences, the way that we do it today. So if I say sciences, let's say I was sleeping in the night and out of sudden somebody is going to come to me at like 2 a.m. in the night. Will say like, okay, see, Sajad, I have this wild idea why this happens this way. So I'll say like, okay, see, you have a good idea. I mean, if you believe that this will happen this way, we might want to test it out. So what I'll do is I will design a really great experiment. And through that really great experiment, we will test his idea, whoever that person was, and we will see actually whether this works that way or not, right? So there's a thing called a scientific method, which is which is the basis of all the courses regarding AP and all the sciences, whatever you want to do. So I made a really great experiment that, okay, we will just test your hypothesis. And in order to do my experiment, I need data. So I'll just go out, maybe ask a few people, interview a few people, right? Collect some data. And based on my data, I'll just do some statistics and I will just come up with a conclusion. And this is how, my friend, I'll just make a theory that whatever that thought that I got at 2 a.m. is something true. And this is how this should work for us in the real world. If I say biology as a course, we might have heard of evolution. This is something that we do in regular biology as well. We might have heard of cellular processes. This is also something that we do in regular biology. Like we talk about cells, we talk about what are there, what are the things which are there inside the cells. We talk about all the processes that are happening in the cell, and we talk about all of these processes in a very intuitive way, in a very, I would say, collaborative way, where we say that all these accessories or all these organelles are working with each other. And by working with each other, they are somehow helping you in attaining a very specific process or in achieving something that you wanted to do in your body. Let's just consider a very basic example over here, and luckily we have, I would say, somehow a model over here as well to consider our example. So let's say this is me somewhere over here, right? And you can just imagine me to be that model. So let's say I am the model and I am this tiny person over here. And out of sudden, I just got a bit hungry that I wanted to eat something, man. I just need something to eat, right? So maybe I'll just go out to my favorite, I would say, maybe KFC, or maybe my favorite, I would say, Starbucks, I would say, outlet, or whatever, whatever, like whatever I will find at the earliest. So just the moment I'll think about the food, I'll start, I would say salivating in my mouth, right? So my mouth will start to water. Now, for a lot of people, this is something that we never ever even thought of. But for us, or for those people who are more interested into biology, this is something really amazing, because we know that our body can actually respond to a lot of things around us, right? We know how our body is working. So at that exact same moment, when I started to think about the food, you can just imagine that my body started to react. So this is all whatever we will talk about in this whole course, right? Then you can see energy transfers. I'm not talking about energy that we will, I would say, have maybe in the form of potential energy or in the form of kinetic energy. I'll definitely add kinetic energy a bit later. But I'm not talking about the energy that we might, I would say, use to drive a car. I'm talking about energy that we use to drive each and individual thing in our body. This is how we will see energy transfer. We know this thing very well, that in order to, I would say, do something, we need energy. And in order to get energy, we need to eat, right? The very same idea that I just shared with you. And if we need to eat, it means obviously it's the food that in one or the other way is going to give us energy. Then again, a very interesting question, how exactly this food is going to give us energy, or what is the actual source of energy behind the food? So, in order to dig more into this one, I'm going to move a bit more forward, and definitely we will just eventually reach our big ideas. So, I think now over here. So, these are our big ideas in whole of the AP biology. If I just talk about AP biology as a coursework, I say this is a single subject that we are doing, right? But then again, we can divide that single subject into four big ideas. That these are four key ideas that I want to do, right? For an example, if I just talk about my own day, I can even divide my own day into multiple big ideas. I'll say like, okay, this part of the day I'll sleep, and this part of the day I'll eat, and this part of the day I'll get my shower, and this part of the day I'll teach, right? This part of the day I'll interact with you guys over here to make something fun out of a lot of different things, right? Similarly, if I talk about AP biology as a course, I can actually divide the whole coursework into multiple ideas. Idea number one is evolution. A lot of times people do think about this thing in a very vague way. We always say that, okay, even if I would say, try to collaborate some ideas over here, a lot of times we believe that we might have evolved from, I would say, maybe something, I can say, a common ancestor like dinosaurs, right? Sometimes a lot of people might say that we have evolved from chimpanzees, right? And sometimes we even get vague ideas related to this one. Sometimes people say that, okay, no, there is nothing like chimpanzees, nothing like, I would say, dinosaurs. We all were made in a single day. We all were made in 4 days. We all were made in 6 days, right? Like that. But we will justify whatever is true over here, right? And how we will do that? By eventually digging into the very same big idea, evolution. Similarly, I was telling you about energetics. So in energetics, we will definitely talk about energy flow. We will definitely talk about how exactly we get energy, how exactly something called as sun gives energy to the plants that we have around us. and how from the plants some human is going to get the energy, or how from the plant some other, I would say, animal is going to get the energy, and how the energy will go from animal to us, and likewise around it, right? This is how things will work. So we're talking about the big ideas related to AP biology. And I was telling you about energetics, right? So I just told you that in AP biology, in one of the big idea, we'll talk about how exactly we get energy from the sunlight to the trees, or I can say to the plants, and so do from the plants to us, or maybe to another animal out there, right? So this is just how things work. So you have a proper flow, you have a proper connection of a lot of different things, and these a lot of different things will make a proper system for you, right? This is the best way to understand something, to actually make a model of something, and then through model to understand a lot of things in really broad ways. For an example, let's say I want to study photosynthesis, right? And I just will go there to one of my friend, right? And I'll ask him, okay, hey man, can you just teach me photosynthesis tonight, right? And he's like, okay, I can teach you, but yeah, let's just try to see photosynthesis in terms of a model. So maybe he will make a model of photosynthesis for me, right? Maybe he will just divide photosynthesis into tiny parts and just tell me about the light dependent phase first of all, then the light independent phase, then he will tell me about the Calvin cycle, and then he will tell me about the process of I would say maybe electron transport chain, or maybe something else, right? So the best way to understand something is actually to divide it into tiny chunks. Same thing goes with our classes as well. For an example, let's say you're studying biology with me, so what I'm going to do is I'll just break down each and individual concepts into tiny digestible chunks, right? So that you can actually remember something, or so that you can actually understand and apply that to the very same, or to just, I would say, add that as an addition to your own knowledge, right? This is how things should go for us. Moving forward from here, the big idea number three is actually about information storage and transmission, right? So, for an example, a lot of times I interact with students who are doing AP Computer Science A, AP Computer Science, I would say P, right? So computer science principles, and so do computer science applications. We know this thing very well from, I would say, my computer science fellows, that in computers we do have, I would say, proper, like memory, right? We have proper RAM, and then we have proper ROM, right? So why we are using RAM or why we are using ROM? Just to store information for us, right? So same thing goes with our biological systems as well. Let's say you wanted to study about cells, right? These cells will have a proper storage system, and that storage system is there in the nucleus, right? And in the nucleus there is a DNA, and this DNA is gonna work as a memory for you, right? Now, how this DNA will act as a memory? Just imagine DNA to be the source code of everything, right? For an example, if you look at me and you will say like, okay, Sajjad sir, you look like a specific person, right? So why I look like a specific person? Because my DNA codes for those characters that make me that specific person, right? It's like this for every single person over there. Then you can see big idea number four, the systems interaction, right? The very same thing that I just covered right now, that we talk about biology in a proper systematic approach, right? We make tiny systems and we integrate those systems with each other. For a very good example, if I just come to you right now and I just say like, okay, are you breathing? You might think of this one for once, like whether I'm breathing or not. What kind of question is this, right? And then you will definitely say like, okay, this is actually a good question. I didn't knew whether I was breathing or not, right? Then eventually you will try like, yeah, I am breathing, right? So why is that? Because our systems are so much integrated that you don't even have to think about that. And this is what exactly that we are using today with the machines, like automation and all that, right? But the thing is, we are already automated in a way. So we just use our knowledge about our own body, and based on that knowledge, we develop the systems that we use in the world today, right? This is how things should work. Moving forward, I have the proper unit plan for AP biology over here, right? And this is one of the great things that we should know. I really believe that if we don't know the roadmap, we can really struggle to really succeed, right? For an example, let's say somebody, I would say, come to me and say like, okay, I want to achieve this thing in 8 months, right? And he don't have a roadmap, he don't know what to do, right? He don't know how to start, he don't know if he start from A, what comes after that, right? Then obviously success would be very hard to achieve. So it's very important for us to have a roadmap. And the same thing we do over here at Let's Unbound, right? So in our first few sessions, we actually worked with you to develop a proper roadmap. We know what you need, right? Because we work with students like you, and we are doing this thing for a very long time. So we know what exactly you need, and that's how we achieve it. So this exactly is the roadmap for AP Biology. We know that we will start AP Biology with Chemistry of Life. And you will say this thing to me definitely when you will enter my class for Chemistry of Life, that suggests, sir, why you are teaching chemistry in biology? We should actually talk about biology. Why we even want to do chemistry? So the thing is, all the sciences are very well connected to each other. For an example, physics, chemistry, and biology. We learn them as physics, chemistry, and biology today. But when we started working with science initially, for a very long period of time, people used to consider science as purely magic. We never ever knew what is science. We just said that like, okay, something is happening, and yeah, this is magic, right? And even a lot of times in many parts of the world, there are many magic tricks which are being performed, and there is a science behind that, right? For an example, if you're mixing certain chemicals with each other, they will just do a color change. And somebody can come to you and say, like, okay, see, this is a magic trick. My hands can do this color change, right? But in reality, no, that is actually science. That is purely science, right? And all sciences are integrated with each other. So AP really requires that integrated approach from our side. So in chemistry of life, we will be talking about water. We will be talking about biological macromolecules like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, right? And we will make a good pavement about cells. We will make a lot of great ideas that, okay, these are the chemicals that we have on the inside, and this is how we are made. This is how cells are made, and this is how we are going to move forward, right? A bit more forward to the unit 2, we will talk about cells. And when I say cells, we would be talking about cells in a way that we will talk about cell structure first of all, right? We know this thing very well that we are not the only living organisms. Bacteria is also living, right? If we just go forward, plants are also living, right? Although plants can't move, they can't really, I would say, come to you and slap you. But the thing is, they are living, right? Living organisms are not the only ones who can come to you and maybe, I would say, pull you from collar and say, like, okay, man, hey, come here, let's play something, right? It's not like that. Living organisms are much more than that. Living organisms are actually doing a lot of processes from inside. Moving forward, we have cellular energetics. In cellular energetics, we usually talk about photosynthesis on one side and respiration on the other side, right? So these two are the primary objectives there. In cellular energetics, I should tell you this thing very straightforward. A lot of people who just come to me, so they always and always come to me with doubts from cellular energetics, right? Even they will say like, okay, our school teacher just presents some slides and he is not able to explain this thing very well. So this is just one of that unit where a lot of us might struggle. Why we struggle? Because we are not able to approach it the way it asks us to approach. So you see, it is very important for us to actually do the things the way they are required to be done, right? It is very important for us to know that, I would say, like, like kind of, it's like if you have a single arrow can't really kill all the birds, right? You might have to have a different approach for every single thing, right? Similarly, we have cell communication and cell cycle. We know that our cells are interconnected with each other, and we also know that our cells are continuously dividing, right? So we need to talk about proper communication in a way that our body is interconnected from the inside. And similarly, when we talk about cell cycle, so we need to talk about mitosis, meiosis, and we need to talk about cell division in a proper cycle. Like we have interphase, we have prophase, we have metaphase, we have anaphase, and then we have telophase. The thing is, right now, these fancy terms might feel a lot difficult to you. But by the end of the year, when we just do a proper coursework, you might feel these to be the most easiest things ever, right? So it is the very same for all the courses. When we start something, it feels a lot difficult for us. But once we masters that something, or once we just, I would say, hit a certain milestone, it becomes so easy for us that we don't even consider that as difficult anymore, right? Moving forward, we have heredity. This is one of the most important thing for biology. So we will talk about a person named Mendel. And I can tell you, before my teaching journey, before I started teaching, I used to hate Mendel. So I don't know why I used to hate him. I think a lot of students are somehow on the very same side as me. We all hate Mendel. Why? Because before Mendel, there was nothing like mathematics in biology. But with the ideas of Mendel, We had to use the rules of probability, and we had to use the statistical things like chi-squared and all that. And now it has become an everyday process for us. So whatever biological thing that we are studying, whatever biological process that we are studying, we have to do chi-squared. We have to compute probabilities in many ways, right? And we have to do a lot of mathematics. But yes, before Mendel, no, it was not there, right? So that's a very good reason to hate Mendel in many ways. Same thing goes with physics as well. If Newton was not there, I think physics could be a lot easy, right? So there are a lot of people in a lot of different, I would say, scientific subjects that we hate in one or the other way. So moving forward from heredity, we have gene expression and gene regulation. So we will talk about how exactly we can use that DNA to make RNA, and we can use that RNA to make proteins, right? So this is a very collaborative process. So this is collaborative straight from the nucleus. The nucleus has to collaborate with the ribosome, and ribosome has to collaborate with the Golgi and the ER so that they can deliver that proper function. Same thing goes with us as well. Like let's say you come to us at Let's Unbound, so you have to collaborate with us, and we will collaborate with you and your parents, and that's how we can collectively do this job. The job of me would be to teach you a certain thing. The job of you will be to do a part of the homework, right? To just keep the worksheets properly updated, to submit all the homework. And that's how something is achieved as a collective effort, not just from me, not just from you, but from all of us all together. Moving forward, we have natural selection, and this is where Darwin's kicks in, right? This is where we have the idea of Darwin's natural selection, right? This is where we have the idea of Charles Darwin. So before Mendel, obviously Darwin was there, and Darwin was the first person to explain evolution in a proper scientific way, right? I told you in the beginning of my session over here that a lot of people have different vague ideas related to evolution, right? And Darwin was one of the person to clarify a lot of doubts, and he actually gave a scientific, I would say, a scientific explanation of evolution. We can say it this way. Moving forward to the last unit, we have ecology, right? And ecology is something that is one complete AP as well for us. A lot of times, those students who want to do AP biology, they also consider AP environmental science, APES. This is also one thing. This apes is not the ape from monkeys and apes. This is actually a proper AP, right? So this is AP environmental science. AP environmental science resonates around this eighth unit of AP biology. I can just definitely say it this way, right? So AP biology resonates very well around AP environmental science, and AP environmental science resonates very well with AP biology over here, right? So these two things are interconnected in many different ways, right? Amazing. So moving forward, the next thing that we are talking about. Okay. So after chemistry of life, the next thing that I have over here is actually the proper exam format for AP biology. This is something that we should definitely understand, because if we don't know what are we facing later on, we won't really know what we have to prepare for. So we knew, or we just had a great understanding about a unit plan, and now we need to have a great understanding about what exactly will be there on the day of the paper, right? How are we really planning to, I would say, crack the paper? How are we really planning to move forward and somehow do good with the paper, right? So there are two sections for the paper for us, two sections for AP biology. Section one is for MCQs, right? The multiple choice questions where you would be given with certain options, and you have to decide from those options, okay, which one are you going to go with, right? Which one you wanted to go with. So there would be 60 such questions, and you would be given with 90 minutes, right? So you can just compute this one very well, that you will have somewhere around 1.5 minute per question. So in 1.5 minute, you have to be very clever that you can actually think of that answer and then somehow mark your response, right? Similarly, in the section two, we have FRQs. FRQs are the free responses, right? You're more, I would say, more free to write a proper structured answer. So there would be total 6 questions, right? Two of the questions would be long. So, and two of the questions, sorry, four of the questions would be short. For long questions, you will be given with 10 points for each of the question. They are mostly on experimental design, on data analysis, and somehow model based as well. For an example, in many of the questions, you would be given with a proper, I would say, graph with a proper data set. And from the graph and from the data set, you have to compute sometimes mean, sometimes you have to compute chi-squared. And based on that, you have to write your answer. So let's say I just give you a graph, and on the graph there's a certain trend, and I'll ask you to identify that trend. That okay, what is happening in this thing, right? And then you will just identify that and write that as a good answer from your side, right? Moving forward, for the short responses, we have proper, I would say, your conceptual understanding. Let's say I can ask you define the light dependent reaction of photosynthesis. I can ask you about something else, right? So these are the common things that will be asked from you in this whole of the FRQ section, or in whole of the section 2. So in total, I told you just right now that we have two sections. On one side I have the MCQs, and on the other side I have the FRQs. So moving more forward from here, you can see the science practice, right? And you can also see what is the exam weightage of all these things, right? For an example, a lot of times students ask me that, okay, Sajad sir, can we just, I would say, read through the textbook and get a 5 in AP biology? So my answer to these students a lot of times is no. Why? Because if you just read through a textbook and you just go for AP biology, you would be getting somewhere around 2 or a 3. That is for sure. This is something that I can guarantee that, okay, just read the textbook, memorize all the things, right? And you will get a 2 or a 3, right? But that's not something that you want, right? You want a perfect 5. This is the reason you are joining me, or this is the reason you are joining us at Let's Unbound, right? Why? Because you have a proper strategy. You have a proper plan that, okay, you sat with your mom and your mom told you that, hey, you need to get a perfect 5 in AP biology. And this is why I'm just, I would say, somehow handing you over to Sajid sir at Let's Unbound, or I'm just handing you over to Let's Unbound's team, right? And they will take care of you that you are going to get a perfect 5. And how we will do that? Because we will teach you all of these things one by one. We will tell you, or we will definitely work with you on your conceptual explanation, that you can definitely understand and explain the concept. We will work with you for visual representations, that if you know something, can you put that in a data sheet? If you know something, can you make a bar chart of that? If you know something, can you just do a mean, I would say, mode, or maybe a median for that, right? How? Because we will work with you for that, right? Similarly, we have, I would say, representation, describing data, right? Similarly, we have statistical analysis and argumentation. Argumentation and concept explanation are two great things that we usually tackle in AP biology. When I say concept explanation, so you should, like, let's say, photosynthesis. So you should know what exactly is photosynthesis, and you should be able to explain some aspects of photosynthesis. When I say argumentation, what if I just come to you and say, like, hey, why do plants need to photosynthesize? And you will say, like, hey, Sajad sir, that's a very good question, but I might not want to answer that. Why? Because a lot of times we fail actually in the argumentation. And that's what we are building over here. When we work with you, we actually develop that argumentation as a skill. This is not something that can be done overnight, right? This is something that will happen in a certain amount of time, right? And for that argumentation, I actually have to work with you for a very long period of time, maybe for 50 hours, maybe for 60 hours, right? And in those 50 and 60 hours, we will critically analyze each and every aspect, right? For an example, if I just come to you today and say, like, hey, I'm a salesperson over here at Let's Unbound, and I want you to join Let's Unbound. So you will say, like, why? Then I will give you an argumentation. Hey, we are this, we are this, we are this, and this is why I want you to join us, right? So you can just imagine that argumentations actually work in a lot different way, right? We don't really kind of just, I would say, be vague with our ideas, right? We have to present our ideas in a way that they are justifiable. Same thing goes with biology as well. Somebody came to you and say, like, why plants have to photosynthesize? Then you have to give them a proper argumentation on that. Plants have to photosynthesize because they have to make glucose, because they need glucose for their growth, and they will provide that glucose, or they will provide that food to all the other animals. Plants will photosynthesize because they are producers, and if they are producers, they have a job that they have to keep all the other animals or all the other stakeholders in the ecosystem up to date. They have to work with them very well, right? It's like that. So moving more forward from here, the next thing is, you can see, for the FRQs and for the, I would say, long, and so do for the short FRQs, I made a proper clear explanation that, okay, this is what is needed, right? And this is what that is needed. We just covered this one a while ago when I was talking about section 1 and section 2. So I'm just skipping this one and moving forward, right? Then sometimes not sometimes, I will say most of the times, in 30% of the cases, we know everything, but we don't know what is being asked. For an example, I just say like, explain the process of photosynthesis, describe the process of photosynthesis, or I can even say, justify the process of photosynthesis, right? And you will see these are three different types of questions. If we don't know what exactly is being asked, how we are supposed to answer that, right? And for that, we have to work with proper keywords as well. So I have to work with you in the argumentation skill building, right? And I have to work with you in exactly the skill building in terms of the keywords as well. Like if this is asked, what we are supposed to answer. If this is asked, what we are supposed to answer, right? Like for an example, if somebody says, okay, predict something, then I have to look for the evidence, and then based on that evidence, we have to predict the outcome from the scenario, right? For an example, if somebody came to me and say like, okay, hey, calculate this thing. So what I'll do is I'll just use my mathematics skills and calculate something and provide them with the answer, right? This is how we should be, right? Similarly, there are more command words like make a claim, right? When I say make a claim means we have to look for the available knowledge, and from whatever knowledge which is available right now to us, we will just make a proper prediction that, okay, see, this is what I believe should happen, right? And that is my claim. Moving more forward from here, the next thing that we have is the scores, right? Obviously, like we did the exam, right? And even if we don't know like what exactly would be the score criteria from the exam, right? So how are we aiming for and what are we aiming for? So on a scale, all the APs are usually from 1 to 5, right? On a scale of 1 to 5. And this is actually a college recommendation, right? If you're getting a 1, you're not recommended for, you are not, I would say, recommended for the college. If you're getting a 2, you're possibly qualified. If you're getting a 3, you're qualified, right? So anything before, anything I would say below 3 is something that I never ever aim for, is something that I never ever even think of. I even have, I would say, deleted number 1, number 2, and number 3 from my number line. I don't want to even talk about them, right? So I have 4 and 5, right? When I say 4, you are well qualified. And when I say 5, congratulations, you are extremely qualified, right? You are extremely well qualified. So it means you are accepted to all the major colleges across the US, right? And not just for US. AP credits are very well, I would say, or AP, I would say, scores are very well accepted across the world. It's not just for the US only, it is for across the world. So you can definitely use your AP credits, not for US, but for a lot of different universities across the world. This is something that is purely a skill to us, right? This is not something that you're doing for just and just fun. This is something which is purely a skill. Now, the thing is, okay, you will come to me say like, okay, Sajad sir, then what after AP, right? You did AP, and now what after AP? So you can choose a lot of tracks after biology, right? Biology is one of the course that can open a lot of different tracks for you. For an example, pre-med, right? So if you want to study medicine, you want to study dentistry, right? You want to study pharmacy, radiology, lead, I would say, health and all that, right? So obviously AP biology is definitely going to open a lot of doors for you, right? So you can just enter a very good graduate program and come back to us again and do MCAT with me, and definitely enter your favorite, I would say, college of all time, right? Similarly, we have for STEM majors, right? You can do biology as majors, right? You can do definitely do biology with other very, very good sciences like psychology, like I would say environmental science. You can do biology with chemistry as well. That's also a great combination. You can do biology as yeah, as in biotech, right? That is also a great, great component of today's world, right? Moving forward, then you can see we can also, I would say, do a regular grad. Then you can just do your master's in biology, and you can definitely be a research scientist and contribute a lot to the society. For an example, those who are very well interested in research, so for them AP biology is a great course. You will have a basic idea about statistics, you will have a basic idea about biology, and by using all these basic ideas, you are definitely going to achieve something that you plan for yourself, right? And your plans would be definitely great than what we aim for, right? So moving more forward, you can see it opens your, I would say, it opens doors in medicine and healthcare, life sciences, environmental sciences, research and academia, something that we prefer a lot. And there are a lot of new and emerging fields over here. Moving more forward, so what exactly are we going to achieve in whole of the AP biology as a course? So we will definitely talk about designing experiments. We will definitely talk about collecting data. And as I told you, statistics being an integral part of biology, being an integral part of all the sciences. So we will definitely apply the laws of statistics. We can definitely apply the rules and calculations of statistics across our studies, across the things that we are doing, and definitely we will achieve something great over here. Similarly, we will learn a lot of scientific skills, right? Like a lot of times we'll see an app sitting there on a desktop, right? Microsoft Excel, right? A lot of times you will see like, okay, Google Sheet, and somebody is talking about sheet, and you don't even know what to do with that, right? So we will definitely talk about how we can use Excel or how we can use Google Sheet to compute really great graphs, to make really great models related to biology, and somehow understand the things that we already know. Moving more forward, there are many modern connections. And one thing that I should definitely add up over here as a connection. So, see, we face a lot of new problems every day. Like a few years ago, there was a disease called as COVID, and we struggled a lot with that. So we really need people like you. We really need, I would say, innovative people over here on our team on the research side, where we can actually work and solve a real life scientific problem. And how we can do that? By asking a lot of questions, right? So whatever questions that you get in your mind, you should just come up to me and ask that question to me, like, okay, see, hey Sajad sir, I got this question, can you help me in solving it out, right? And I will be more than happy to do that. Why? Because I know in order to succeed forward, we have to be more and more argumentative, right? We have to be more and more open to new and better learning, right? And so do biology is also open to a lot of new things which are yet to be developed, a lot of new things which are developing, and a lot of new things where you can be a pioneer, right? And this is how we are aiming AP biology for, right? Moving more forward from here, the next thing that I have. So, just as a summary, what exactly is the coursework, right? Why exactly biology is for, right? Or why do we need AP biology? What exactly is the objective of AP biology? So, biology is like a way of thinking, right? It's not just memorization. That was something that has happened a long time ago, right? I think maybe when you were in your middle school, right, your teacher might have asked you, like, okay, hey, Aryan, or hey, somebody, can you just, I would say, memorize this thing, right? Just go there and memorize these 20 elements from the periodic table, right? Just go there and memorize these 20 names, right? But no, that's not the thing anymore, right? We don't have to memorize stuff now. We are much more interested in actually providing a clearer idea, right? We will actually look at concepts in a way that we can understand them, not just memorizing them, right? The actual formula, or the actual, I would say, core success formula for AP biology. First of all, the concept, as I said, that if you just come to me and say, like, okay, hey, can we just read a textbook and get all the score? You can, but not all the score. I will say those numbers that I don't even have on my own number line, right? Moving forward, then you will just maybe practice a lot of problems, right? And we are here to provide you with that. We have a lot of, I would say, intuitive resources, right? We have a lot of resources that we use every day, that we actually sort every day, right? And why we have a lot of these resources to actually work with you and to actually provide you with a lot of practice problems that you can use every day. And these practice problems should be in a way that you can, or these practice problems should be in a way that you can somehow apply your knowledge to those MCQs. So do FRQs. And by applying all of it, what exactly you want to do, so you will just achieve a mastery in a specific level, right? So I should just tell you this thing very straightforward, that you have to think like a biologist, not just, I would say, when you're studying with me, but also when you are, I would say, analyzing a lot of life situations, when you are, I would say, analyzing your own problems, right? Like I started in the beginning with that, I would say, example, that even when I start, I would say, thinking of food, I might start, I would say, producing saliva in my mouth, right? So you have to think of that. Why is that happening? What is the reason behind that, right? And this is how we approach biology. So definitely, that is something that we are, I would say, somehow aiming to do, right? And by any chance, if there are any questions, so I think, or I would say, comment boxes are very well, I would say, open every day, right? And even we are very well open, I would say, every day for your doubts, right? So you can just connect with us. A lot of your doubts would be answered with just a, I would say, discovery call, right? So let's say you just have a doubt that, okay, how exactly AP courses are going to work for you. So definitely we are here to help, right? You want to talk to me, you can talk to me. And if you want to talk to somebody who is at much more higher level than me, yeah, we are available for you. And that is something that we can vouch with, I would say, our courses. So moving more forward from here, the last thing that I want to maybe say over here. So AP biology is definitely not a class, right? This is something that I think you have heard me from the last, I would say, 30 to 35 minutes. It's not a class actually. It's actually a journey that is being shared by me, my team, with you, or maybe your kids, right? So this is something that won't happen overnight. This is something where I have to hold your hands and where I have to like keep you pushing, like, okay, hey, just do one more FRQ, hey, let's do 10 more MCQs, right? Hey, let's do, I would say, two more FRQs. This is something that we have to do every day. And on a very, I would say, subtle, and on a very, I would say, ending note, I should say this thing very well, that if we are or if we are over here for you at Let's Unbound, so you should come to us. Yeah, you should definitely come to us with I would say with our intuitive team, right, with our great team. So with Let's Unbound, I should definitely say that you are not alone, right? This is definitely a bigger process, a bigger, I would say, process to actually understand in many ways, right? And this is a bigger promise from our side to you, that you have a very great team over here, right? You have great mentors, maybe much more better than me and a lot of my, I would say, colleagues, right? You have great peers over here, a lot of, I would say, your fellow I would say maybe your fellow I would say friends and all that, right? And you have a proper global support system. We are willing to help you regardless of wherever we are, wherever you are, right? And this is how things should be. I mean, like, we are not really in 1859 where you will write a research paper and you will maybe like look for people for months to actually read your research paper. It's not like that. We are just a text away. So you can just talk to me, talk to a great counselor about your course, about your plans, and we will definitely help you. This is how things should work for us. And I think with this, I'm going to take your leave. It was really a great session. And I think I might have made a lot of mistakes, right? But I am willing to clarify those mistakes in our upcoming sessions. You should come to me and I will definitely maybe personalize my approach towards what you need and towards what we need in a collaborative way. So thank you so much for your time. So this is Sajad once again, and it was great.
Uh, Thank you so much for a wonderful session, Sajal. I'd also like to share some of the AP results. Allow me a minute. All right. Okay, so these are some of the AP results. Also, we host unique AP and SAT master classes every weekend and will be sending out email updates to keep you informed. That brings us to the close of today's session. I've shared some important links in the chat box. Please feel free to save them for your reference. We look forward to welcoming you to our upcoming events and masterclass. Thank you once again for joining us today. Until next time, take care and keep learning.